Enzo De Luca loosened his silk tie and walked toward his penthouse bedroom, exhaustion weighing on his shoulders after another brutal day of dealing with rival families. The lights of New York City glittered 40 floors below, a kingdom he ruled with an iron fist. At 34 he had everything: power, wealth, fear, and nothing at all. He was reaching for his bedroom door when he heard it. A knock. Soft, hesitant. At 3 in the morning. His hand instinctively moved to the gun at his waist. No one got past his security. No one dared disturb him at this hour. But when he yanked open the door, ready to unleash hell, he froze. A little boy stood there, maybe 6 years old, with dark curly hair and tear-stained cheeks. His small hands clutched a stuffed elephant, and his green eyes, impossibly familiar green eyes, looked up at Enzo with desperate hope. "Please," the boy whispered, his voice breaking, "my mum is missing." If you want to discover how this impossible moment happened and what Enzo did next, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Every view helps bring more stories like this one. Now, let's go back to where this all began. 6 months earlier, Sophia Bennett stepped off the subway at 5:47 a.m., just like she did every weekday morning. She clutched her worn purse closer as she walked through Manhattan's financial district, trying not to think about the eviction notice tucked inside it. 3 months behind on rent, 2 jobs barely keeping food on the table, and Noah starting 1st grade next month with shoes that were already too small. She was 28 and exhausted in ways that had nothing to do with her 2 cleaning jobs. The De Luca building rose before her like a monument to everything she'd never have. 60 floors of steel and glass, housing the most powerful mafia family on the East Coast. Sophia had worked there for 3 months, part of the overnight cleaning crew that made the offices spotless before the legitimate business people arrived. She'd learned quickly not to ask questions about the men in expensive suits who came and went at odd hours, or the rooms on the 40th floor that remained locked even to cleaning staff. Keep your head down. Do your job. Get paid. Go home to Noah. That was her mantra. Sophia changed into her uniform in the staff bathroom and grabbed her cleaning cart. She had 6 hours to clean 20 offices before her second job started at noon. The building was quiet at this hour, just the hum of ventilation and the distant sound of her co-worker Maria vacuuming down the hall. She was wiping down the conference room on the 38th floor when she heard voices, low, urgent, angry. Sophia froze, recognizing the tone if not the words. She'd grown up in neighborhoods where you learned to identify danger by sound alone. "You have until Friday, Marco. No extensions." The voice was cold, final, and distinctly Italian accented. It made something in Sophia's chest tighten with instinctive fear. She quickly finished the room and moved to the next one, her heart pounding. "Don't get involved. Don't see anything. Don't... You... Stop!" Sophia's hands trembled as she turned around. A man stood in the hallway, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a 3-piece suit that probably cost more than her annual salary. Dark hair, sharp features, and eyes that seemed to see right through her cheap uniform to every secret she carried. Vincenzo De Luca. She'd never met him, but everyone on the cleaning crew knew who he was. The boss, the Don, the man you prayed never noticed you existed. "What's your name?" His voice was quieter now, but no less commanding. "Sophia Bennett, sir." She kept her eyes down, her mother's voice echoing in her head. "Never look powerful men in the eye. Never give them a reason to remember you." "How long have you worked here?" 3 months, sir." Enzo studied her for a long moment. Sophia could feel his gaze like a physical weight, cataloguing everything about her. The wedding ring she still wore despite being a widow for 4 years, the cheap sneakers, the way she held herself small and unnoticeable. "You heard what I said to Marco." It wasn't a question. Sophia's throat went dry. "I don't speak Italian, sir, and I don't listen to conversations that aren't my business." Something flickered in his eyes. Amusement. Respect. Smart answer. He turned to leave, then paused. "I have a child." Sophia's head snapped up, fear flooding through her. "How did he—" "The picture," Enzo said, nodding toward her cleaning cart. A small photo of Noah was tucked into the corner, his gap-toothed smile captured last Christmas. "Boy or girl?" "Boy. He's 6. What happened to his father?" The question was direct, almost invasive, but Sophia had learned that men like this expected answers. "Cancer. 4 years ago." Enzo nodded slowly, something unreadable crossing his face. "You're a good mother, I can tell." He walked away before Sophia could process the strange compliment, leaving her standing in the empty hallway with her heart racing and the distinct feeling that her life had just shifted in some fundamental way. She didn't see him again for 2 weeks, but then her supervisor called her into the office. "You've been reassigned," the woman said, sliding a paper across the desk. "Penthouse level. Private residence. Same hours, triple pay." Sophia stared at the paper. "Why me?" "Mr. DeLuca requested you specifically. You start Monday." The penthouse was exactly what Sophia expected, and nothing like she imagined. 30,000 square feet of marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, and furniture that looked like museum pieces, but it was also strangely empty. No family photos, no personal touches, just expensive loneliness wrapped in Italian leather and crystal chandeliers. Enzo's head of security, a man named Victor, had given her a long list of rules on her first day. Don't enter the master bedroom, don't touch anything in the study, don't speak unless spoken to, and most importantly, don't be here when Mr. DeLuca comes home. For 3 weeks, Sophia followed every rule perfectly. She arrived at 6 a.m., cleaned efficiently, and left by 1 p.m. before Enzo returned from whatever business occupied the city's most dangerous man. The pay was extraordinary, enough that she'd caught up on rent and bought Noah new shoes, enough that she'd started hoping for the first time in years, but hope was dangerous for people like her. It was a Thursday morning when everything changed. Sophia was cleaning the living room, carefully dusting around a chess set made of black onyx and white marble, when she heard the private elevator open. She glanced at her watch. 11:47 a.m. He was early. Panic flooded through her. Victor had been very clear about the consequences of being here when Enzo arrived. Sophia grabbed her cleaning supplies and tried to quietly make her way to the service exit, but she wasn't fast enough. "Sophia?" She turned to find Enzo standing in the doorway, his shirt partially unbuttoned, a cut above his left eyebrow still bleeding slightly. He looked exhausted and dangerous, like a predator that had just survived a fight. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll leave immediately." "Stay." The command was quiet but absolute. He walked to the bar and poured himself 2 fingers of scotch, downing it in one swallow. "Do you know how to treat a wound?" Sophia hesitated. Every instinct screamed at her to leave, to not get more involved than she already was. But there was something in his voice, not vulnerability exactly, but a weariness that made him seem suddenly, shockingly human. "I worked as a home health aide before," she said quietly. "I can clean it." She found the first aid kit in the massive bathroom and returned to find Enzo sitting on the leather sofa, his head tilted back, eyes closed. Up close, she could see the full extent of it. Not just the cut, but the bruise forming along his jaw, the split knuckles on both hands. What happened? The question slipped out before she could stop it. Disagreement with a business associate. His eyes opened, meeting hers with dark amusement. "Don't worry. You should see the other guy." Sophia knew she shouldn't smile, but she did. Just a little. She carefully cleaned the wound with antiseptic, acutely aware of how close they were, how her hands trembled slightly as she worked. Enzo's eyes never left her face. "Why are you still wearing that?" he asked, nodding toward her wedding ring. Sophia's hand instinctively covered it. "It reminds me I loved someone once, that I was loved." Past tense. He's gone. But what we had, that was real. "Sometimes I need to remember real things exist." Enzo was quiet for a long moment. "You're braver than you think, Sophia Bennett." "I'm not brave at all. I'm terrified constantly." "That's what makes you brave. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what needs to be done despite it." Sophia applied the butterfly bandage with careful fingers. This close, she could smell his cologne, something expensive and distinctly masculine. She could see the faint scars on his hands, the silver chain around his neck with a medallion she couldn't quite make out. "Done," she whispered, but neither of them moved. The air between them felt electric, charged with something Sophia didn't want to name. Enzo's hand came up slowly, giving her time to pull away before his fingers gently brushed a strand of hair from her face. "You have kind eyes," he said softly. "I don't see kind eyes often in my world." "Mr. DeLuca." "Enzo. When we're alone, call me Enzo." The intimacy of it terrified her. This wasn't supposed to happen. She was supposed to be invisible, forgettable, not standing inches from a mafia boss who was looking at her like she mattered. Sophia stepped back quickly. I should go. Sophia. He caught her wrist gently. Thank you for this. He gestured to his cleaned wound. And for not being afraid of me. I am afraid of you, she admitted. But you stayed anyway. He released her wrist. That's what brave people do. Sophia left the penthouse with her heart racing, and the feeling that she'd just crossed a line she couldn't uncross. She didn't know that Enzo stood at the window for 20 minutes after she left, watching the city below and wondering why a cleaning lady with sad eyes and gentle hands had made him feel something he thought died years ago. That evening, Sophia's phone buzzed with an unknown number. Make sure your son has a good dinner tonight. You work too hard. The text was followed by a notification that $500 had been deposited into her account, with the memo, for Noah. Sophia stared at her phone, tears burning her eyes. She should return it, should set boundaries, should protect herself and her son from a world they had no business being near. Instead, she texted back, "Thank you," 2 simple words that would change everything. Over the next 2 months, a strange routine developed. Enzo started coming home earlier, sometimes while Sophia was still there. He'd pour coffee and sit at the kitchen island watching her work. They'd talk, small things at first, the weather, the city, Noah's obsession with dinosaurs, then deeper things. Enzo's childhood in Sicily, orphaned at 12 and raised by an uncle who taught him that power was survival. Sophia's marriage to Michael, an elementary school teacher who'd battled cancer for 3 years while she worked 3 jobs to pay for treatments that ultimately failed. Do you ever regret it? Enzo asked one morning. Marrying someone you knew you'd lose. Sophia paused in wiping down the counter. Every single day. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Some people are worth the pain of losing them. I've never had that, Enzo said quietly. Never let myself care that much. Why not? Because in my world, anything you love can be used against you. Caring is weakness. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Enzo looked at her with something like wonder. You're the first person who's ever pitied me. I don't pity you. I pity the life that taught you love is dangerous. It was in these stolen morning conversations that Sophia started to see past the mafia boss to the man underneath. Enzo was brilliant. He spoke 5 languages, played chess with grandmaster-level skill, and read philosophy like some men read sports scores. He was also lonely in ways that made her heart ache, and she was falling for him. God help her. She was falling for him. It was dangerous and stupid and impossible. She was a widow barely keeping her head above water. He was the most powerful criminal in New York. They existed in different universes that should never have collided. But her heart didn't care about should. The shift happened on a Wednesday morning. Sophia was reaching for a high shelf when her footing slipped. Before she could fall, strong arms caught her, pulling her against a solid chest. She looked up to find Enzo's face inches from hers, his dark eyes intense. Careful, he murmured. I'm fine. You can let go. What if I don't want to? Sophia's breath caught. Enzo, tell me you don't feel this. Tell me I'm imagining it, and I'll never mention it again. She should lie, should protect them both from this impossible thing. But Sophia had learned that life was too short for lies. I can't tell you that. His hand came up to cup her face with surprising gentleness. I haven't wanted anything this badly in 10 years. Do you know how terrifying that is for me? Yes, because I'm terrified too. Of me. Of this. Of what happens when reality crashes back in. You're you, and I'm me. This doesn't work in the real world. Then maybe we create our own world. When Enzo kissed her, it was nothing like Sophia expected. Not demanding or aggressive, but almost reverent, like she was something precious he was afraid of breaking. She kissed him back, pouring 4 years of loneliness and grief and desperate hope into it. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Enzo rested his forehead against hers. I want you in my life, Sophia. Properly. Not just stolen morning conversations. What does that mean? It means I want to take you to dinner, meet your son, see if we can build something real. Fear and hope warred in Sophia's chest. Your world is dangerous, Enzo. I can't put Noah at risk. I would never let anything happen to him, or to you. I swear on my life. That's what I'm afraid of. That this ends with someone getting hurt. Or it ends with us happy. You said your husband was worth the pain of losing him. Maybe I'm worth the risk of finding me. Sophia wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. Okay, but we take this slow, and Noah comes first, always. Always, Enzo agreed. He kissed her again, softer this time. I'll pick you up Friday night, somewhere quiet, where we can talk. That's when the glass shattered. The living room window exploded inward in a spray of glass and bullets. Enzo immediately covered Sophia's body with his, taking them both to the ground as gunfire ripped through the penthouse. She could hear Victor and other security guards returning fire, shouting in Italian. "Stay down!" Enzo commanded, his body a shield over hers. His gun was in his hand now, she hadn't even seen him draw it. "Don't move." The shooting lasted less than a minute, but it felt like hours. When it finally stopped, Enzo cautiously lifted his head. "Clear!" Victor shouted. Enzo pulled Sophia to her feet, his hands running over her body frantically. "Are you hurt? Did anything—" I'm fine. But she was shaking, adrenaline making her dizzy. Enzo pulled her against his chest, his heart hammering. "This is my fault. I put you in danger. Who was that? The Calabrese family. Sending a message." His jaw clenched. "They wanted to hurt me, and they almost succeeded." Sophia pulled back to look at him. "This is your life. This is what being with you means." "Yes." He didn't look away. "I won't lie to you about that. But I will protect you. Always." Sophia thought about Noah, waiting at her neighbor's apartment. About the life she'd built, through sheer determination to keep him safe. About how one bullet through that window could have made her son an orphan. "I need to go," she whispered. "Sophia, I need to think, Enzo. Please." He released her, but the devastation in his eyes nearly broke her resolve. "I'll have Victor drive you home. And I'm putting security on you and Noah. Don't argue. Enzo, they know about you now. They'll use you to get to me. Please, let me protect you." Sophia wanted to refuse, to maintain her independence, but her son's safety mattered more than her pride. "Okay." That night, Sophia held Noah while he slept, tears streaming down her face. She'd finally found something worth hoping for, and it might cost everything. Sophia didn't return to work the next day, or the day after. She called the cleaning company and quit without explanation, ignoring the texts that flooded her phone from Enzo. She couldn't think straight when she saw his name, couldn't make rational decisions when she remembered his kiss, his promise, the way her body fit perfectly against his. But she also couldn't forget the bullets, the shattered glass, the reality of what his life meant. On the third day, there was a knock on her apartment door. Sophia looked through the peephole and saw Victor's massive frame. "Mrs. Bennett, please open the door. I just need to verify you and your son are safe." Reluctantly, she opened it, keeping the chain lock engaged. "We're fine. Mr. DeLuca is worried. He sent me to—" Victor paused, then said more gently, "He hasn't slept in 3 days. He thinks you're in danger. He thinks the Calabrese family might—" "I can't do this, Victor. Tell him I'm grateful for everything, but I have to think about my son. He knows that. That's why he's hiring additional security for your building. That's why he's been dealing with the Calabrese situation, so it never touches you again." "Dealing with?" Victor's expression hardened. "You don't want details, but after what happened, they won't be a problem anymore." Sophia's stomach turned. "He started a war. Because of me. He ended one. Because of you." Victor handed her an envelope. "He wanted you to have this. He respects your decision, whatever it is." After Victor left, Sophia opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a letter in Enzo's strong, elegant handwriting. "Sophia, I've made many mistakes in my life, but knowing you wasn't one of them. Falling for you wasn't one of them. Putting you in danger was. I've handled the threat. You and Noah are safe now. But I understand if you can't forgive me for bringing that danger to your door in the first place. I meant what I said. You're worth the risk, but I won't force you to take a risk you're not ready for. Your son's safety comes first, always. If you decide to walk away, I'll respect that, but know that you changed something in me. You reminded me what it felt like to hope, to want something beyond power and control. That's a gift I can never repay. Whatever you decide, you and Noah will be taken care of. I've set up a trust for his education. You can access it through my attorney. This isn't a bribe or manipulation. It's just me taking care of someone I love. Yes, love. I've never said that word to anyone, but I'm saying it to you. Yours, if you'll have me." Enzo Sophia read the letter 3 times, tears blurring the words. He loved her. He'd protected her. But was love enough when it came wrapped in danger? She was still trying to answer that question when Noah ran into the living room. "Mommy, Mr. Victor brought me a dinosaur book." He held up an expensive illustrated encyclopedia of prehistoric creatures. He said his friend wanted me to have it. Sophia looked at the book, then at her son's excited face. Noah had so little. His toys were second-hand, his clothes hand-me-downs, but his smile was pure joy. "That was very nice of Mr. Victor's friend. Can I meet him? To say thank you?" Before Sophia could answer, her phone rang. Unknown number. With a sense of foreboding, she answered. "Mrs. Bennett." The voice was cold, accented. "My name is Anthony Russo. I represent the Calabrese family. We'd like to arrange a meeting." Ice flooded Sophia's veins. "I have nothing to say to you. But we have much to say to you. About your relationship with Vincenzo De Luca. About your son." He let the threat hang in the air. "Tomorrow, 3 p.m. The address will be texted to you. Come alone, or the boy suffers." The line went dead. Sophia's hands shook so badly she dropped the phone. Victor had been wrong. The threat wasn't handled, and now they had Noah in their sights. She had two choices: go to the meeting and walk into a trap, or call Enzo and admit she needed him. Pride versus survival. There was no contest. She called Enzo. He answered on the first ring. Sophia, just her name, but it carried such relief and longing that her chest ached. "They called," she whispered. "The Calabrese. They want me to come to a meeting tomorrow. They threatened Noah." Silence. Then, "Where are you?" "Home. Lock your doors. Don't let anyone in except Victor. I'm coming." 20 minutes later, an impossibly short time given Manhattan traffic, Enzo was at her door. He pulled her into his arms the moment he crossed the threshold, holding her like he'd never let go. "I'm sorry," he whispered into her hair. "I'm so sorry. I thought I'd handled this. What do we do?" Enzo pulled back, his hands cupping her face. "You don't go anywhere near them. I'll handle this." "How?" "The way I handle everything that threatens what's mine." His expression was cold steel. "They wanted a war. They'll get one. Enzo, I don't want anyone hurt because of me. They threatened your son, Sophia. They signed their own death warrants." The casual way he said it should have terrified her. Instead, she felt safe for the first time in days. This was who he was: dangerous, ruthless, protective. And he was using all that power to protect her and Noah. "I don't want to run anymore," she said quietly. "I don't want to be afraid. I want—" She paused, gathering courage. "I want what you offered. If the offer still stands." Enzo's eyes softened. "It will always stand. Even knowing I come with a 6-year-old who asks a million questions and has nightmares about T-Rexes. Especially then." Enzo kissed her forehead. "Where is he?" "Sleeping in his room." "Can I see him?" Sophia led Enzo down the narrow hallway to Noah's tiny bedroom. Her son was sprawled across his twin bed. The dinosaur book clutched to his chest even in sleep. Enzo stood in the doorway for a long moment, something unreadable crossing his face. "He looks like someone," Enzo said quietly. "Like Michael, his father." But Enzo was frowning now, his brilliant mind clearly working through something. "When did you say your husband died?" 4 years ago. "Why?" "And Noah is 6. "Yes, born 3 months after Michael's diagnosis." "Why are you asking this?" Enzo turned to look at her, his expression strange. "What was your maiden name?" "Rossi. Sophia Rossi." "Why does this—" She stopped. "Wait, how do you know that name?" "Because 10 years ago I spent one night with a woman named Sophia Rossi at a hotel in Chicago, a medical conference. We never exchanged numbers. I never even got your last name beyond that." He looked back at Noah. "He has my eyes, Sophia. He has my goddamn eyes." The world tilted. "That's impossible. Michael is Noah's father. We were—" But Sophia's mind was racing backward, doing math she'd never questioned before. "The dates. Tell me the truth. Is there any possibility?" Sophia sank onto Noah's bed, her mind reeling. She'd met Michael 2 weeks after that conference in Chicago. 2 weeks after a one-night stand with a stranger she'd never expected to see again. She'd been so focused on her new relationship, on Michael's diagnosis, on survival, that she'd never questioned the timeline. "I thought he was Michael's," she whispered. "I swear I thought we need a DNA test." "Enzo, now Sophia, tonight." The DNA results came back in 48 hours. Enzo had paid for express processing, using his connections to get same-day results from a private lab. Sophia sat in his penthouse, now repaired from the shooting, with the sealed envelope in her hands. Enzo stood by the window, his back to her, tension radiating from every line of his body. "Open it," he said quietly. Sophia's hands trembled as she tore open the envelope. She read the results once, twice, then looked up at Enzo with tears streaming down her face. 99.9% probability, she whispered. "He's yours." Enzo turned, his expression unreadable. "I have a son. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. If I had—" "You would have what? Tried to find me? I didn't even give you my real name that night." Enzo laughed bitterly. "I've spent 10 years convinced I'd never have a family, that I was too damaged, too dangerous, and all this time I had a son. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Don't." Enzo crossed to her in 3 strides, pulling her to her feet. "Don't apologize for giving me the greatest gift I could ever receive." His hands cupped her face. "You raised him alone. You worked yourself to exhaustion to give him a good life. You protected him. That's not something to apologize for. What do we do now?" "Now?" Enzo's thumb brushed away her tears. "Now I want to meet my son properly as his father. He thinks Michael was his dad. Michael was his dad in every way that mattered. I won't take that away from him, but I want to be part of his life. And yours." Enzo's voice softened. "If you'll let me. You still want this? Even though I didn't tell you? You didn't know, but yes, I still want this. I want you. I want Noah. I want the family I never thought I could have." Sophia kissed him then, pouring all her fear and hope and love into it. When they pulled apart, Enzo rested his forehead against hers. "I need to handle the Calabrese situation first. Make sure they never threaten our family again." "Our family," Sophia whispered. "I like the sound of that." "So do I." The next week moved like a whirlwind. Enzo dealt with the Calabrese family with brutal efficiency. Sophia didn't ask for details, and he didn't offer them. What mattered was that the threat disappeared, and with it the cloud of fear that had hung over them. Then came the hard part, telling Noah. They decided to start slow. Enzo visited the apartment as Sophia's friend first. He brought books and toys, asked about dinosaurs and first grade, and most importantly listened, really listened, in a way that made Noah glow with attention. After the 3rd visit, as Enzo was leaving, Noah grabbed his hand. "Mr. Enzo, will you come to my school thing next week? For Father's Day? Mommy said she'd come, but she always looks sad on Father's Day." Sophia's breath caught. Enzo knelt down to Noah's level. "I'd be honored. But Noah, can I tell you something important?" "Okay." Enzo glanced at Sophia, who nodded through her tears. "Your mommy and I knew each other a long time ago, before you were born, and we found out something amazing." Enzo took a deep breath. "I'm your father, Noah. Your biological dad." Noah's eyes went wide. "But my daddy died. Michael. Michael was your daddy too. He loved you and raised you, and that makes him your father in every way that matters. But I helped make you, which means you have 2 dads, one in heaven and one right here, if that's okay with you." Noah thought about this seriously. "Do I have to call you Dad?" "You can call me whatever makes you comfortable. Can I call you Papa, like in my Italian book?" Enzo's eyes filled with tears. "I would love that." Noah threw his arms around Enzo's neck. "Cool, I have a papa. Does this mean I get to visit your big house?" Sophia laughed through her tears. "We can talk about that. Actually," Enzo said, standing with Noah in his arms, "I was hoping you'd both move in. I have plenty of room and I'd like to fall asleep and wake up with my family." "Yes," Noah shouted. "Can I have the room with the big window?" "Any room you want, little man." Sophia looked at them, her son and the man she loved both grinning at each other, and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Complete. Safe. Home. "Okay," she whispered. "Let's go home." 3 months later, Sophia stood in the massive kitchen of the penthouse, watching Enzo teach Noah how to make pasta from scratch. Flour covered both of them, and Noah's laugh rang through the space like music. "Like this, Papa." "Perfect. You're a natural." Sophia's engagement ring caught the light as she smiled. Enzo had proposed a month ago, a simple question in the middle of a quiet Sunday morning. "Marry me. Make this official. Be my family forever." She'd said yes before he finished asking. The doorbell rang and Victor appeared with a package. "For the lady." Sophia opened it to find a framed photo from the Father's Day event at Noah's school. Enzo stood with Noah on his shoulders, both of them laughing at something off camera. Someone had written on the mat, "Best papa ever." "What is it?" Enzo came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Our family," Sophia said simply, leaning back against him. "I never thought I'd have this," Enzo murmured against her hair. "Never thought I deserved it." "You deserve every happy moment, Enzo De Luca." "So do you, Sophia Rossi, soon to be De Luca." Noah ran over, covered in flour and grinning. "Mommy, can we watch my dinosaur movie tonight? All three of us?" "All three of us," Sophia agreed. "Like a real family." "We are a real family," Noah said matter-of-factly. "Papa said so." Sophia looked at Enzo, whose eyes were suspiciously bright. "Papa's right." That night, curled on the couch with Noah asleep between them, and a documentary about velociraptors playing quietly on the screen, Enzo whispered, "Thank you." "For what?" "For being brave enough to answer the door when a little boy knocked, for giving me a second chance, for being the family I didn't know I needed." Sophia kissed him softly. "Thank you for protecting us, for loving us, for being the man I didn't know I was looking for." Outside the windows, New York City glittered with possibility. Inside, a mafia boss held his sleeping son and the woman he loved, finally understanding that real power wasn't about control or fear. Real power was this: a home, a family, and love worth fighting for,